Alrighty, sorry about that. I glitched that a little bit there. How's everybody doing? Hope everyone's having a better day and everything like that. I apologize for my sweaty appearance. I just left the gym and I had to make up for not going yesterday, so I did 3 muscle groups and I'm kind of feeling it right now. Um, so what we're gonna do today, we're gonna do a watch party. I'm gonna take some notes while it's going on and everything like that of the Hurricanes prospect game. I misspoke. I said it was the Panthers practice facility. It's actually Tampa's practice facility, so that's where they're at. They're in Wesley Chapel, Florida, which I knew that was closer to Tampa, and for some odd reason I said Florida as if it was closer to Sunrise. So my apologies there. Let's see if the link is posted yet, because it's supposed to pop up on hurricanes.com and it's not showing up yet. And when it does come up, I'll pull that up and mute it and be able to talk about it. J-Dub, what's up, dude? I hope you're doing well, bud. But yeah, so we're gonna do a simple stream here and just kind of do a watch party for this. I'm gonna do this for the game on Monday. I won't be able to do it tomorrow because I'll be working, and we'll do it again for some of, if not all of the preseason games, just kind of depending on what I got going on and everything like that. So as soon as they post this link up here, I'll make sure everyone knows, and I can throw it in the description on YouTube. That won't be a problem. I'm also going to try to accelerate the timeline of the website because I don't want to deal with social media anymore after the last few days. The X account is going to turn into posting links to stuff on the website, and I'm just, after some of the stuff that went on these past couple of days, I'm over it. I really am. I never would have went back to social media if it hadn't been for this channel. I'm grateful for all the cool people I've met. A lot of them in real life, like for example, me, Griff, AB, and the Sams from Caniac Report. Even though one of them's not on there anymore, I became really, really good friends in real life with those guys because of this, and I'm grateful for that. I'm sure I'll make more friends and everything, but I'm ready to be done with it. I really am. I still want to have the channel and everything like that, but as far as the social media aspect of it, that's on borrowed time. I'm not gonna stick with that. I can't deal with that shit that I saw over this last couple of days. So let's see, is the link active yet? Let me refresh again. Let me see if the Canes are posting it on their website yet. Or not on their website, on X. Because they said it was going to start 15 minutes before the stream would, and that's why them streaming the game would start 15 minutes before the game, and that's why I chose to go live at this particular time. Dylan, what's up, dude? You see the captains for the prospect team? Yeah, it was Robota was the captain, Nadeau had an A, and Charles Alexis Legault, my personal favorite, had an A. So Charles Alexis Legault absolutely dwarfs those guys, especially Robota. It was a funny picture. It really was. Let's see anything. Let me see if I can look at it here. Nope, not yet. Ain't Legault like the same size as Nikishin? He's close to it. If he's not the exact same size, he's pretty close. He's a big kid. And he uses his size like he loves to hit people. That's something you're going to see today. If they'll ever post the link to the damn game. Let me go in this article again and see if it's in there, because it's supposed to be up by now. Okay, view the roster. Okay, I already know the roster. I talked about that yesterday. No, they still haven't posted the link yet. 6'3", 207, and he's 22. So he's still got a little bit of time to grow a little bit more. So he might be bigger than that by the time that he gets ready for the show. Legault is one of those guys that it would be really, really hard to trade him, in my opinion. It would be kind of detrimental to do so, because imagining him and Nikishin on the same pair, people are going to be afraid. All right, let me keep refreshing this still. Haven't done this since 12:01 on July 1st, which didn't really need to. Yeah, I saw that one that Ruslan Kozayev led them out. Let me see. All right, so we've got the lines here from Walt Ruff. Top line is Nadeau, Robidas, Ungersorum. Second line is Ekberg, Ryabkin, and Trikazov. Oh boy, that Ryabkin and Trikazov combination, that's going to be annoying to play against. Gagnon, Biondi, and Weiss. Gore, Lay, and Verling. Defensive pairs, you have Himasalmi and Nystrom, Doyle, Legault, McGregor, Badinka. So that's actually a pretty even spread of the defense there throughout, the depth that they have in particular on that team. Why are they not posting the link to the damn game? Me at Canes. Not that I'm pretty sure they have me muted because I'm not a lunatic, but. And refresh and refresh. Well, they said 10 to 15 minutes. Well, no, it's within 10 minutes. Well, 10 minutes till puck drop, or within 10 to 15 minutes of puck drop. So, these things never really start on time. Colby McLam says, what a top line for a prospect game. No kidding. Amazing top line for a prospect game. Ruslan Kosayev is huge, not Ben Bishop huge, but could be an awesome goalie for us in the future, along with the newest Russian we drafted also. Yeah, and Varlamov, Semyon Frolov had their names sound kind of similar. I think that's why I said that. Semyon Frolov had a shutout the other day, too, in the K. So there's also that. Let's see. Did we get anything here yet? Nope. Any day now, Canes. Any day now. And if I'd known this, I would have had time to take a shower. It's a good thing that y'all can't smell me through here. I really just lifted a bunch of weights and stuff. Like, I smell horrible right now. Skylark, what's up, dude? What's up, buddy? How's college been treating you? It's actually been pretty good. I'm not someone who likes school at all. Like, that's part of the reason I joined the military, was so that I didn't have to go to school. But now, we're at a point in society where, if you don't have 4 degrees, you can't work at a McDonald's. So it's been nice having the GI Bill to go on. Makes it a whole lot easier, especially going full time. And the longer I've been there, I've had to give up some of the things in life that I enjoy. Like, and I'm just going to give them up anyway for my health. I don't go out to eat very much anymore. Me and my girlfriend are both going to college full time, and the courses that she's in are significantly faster paced and more time consuming than the ones I'm in right now. So we've not been able to go out and do stuff as much as we wanted to, but we kind of knew moving down here that was going to probably be the case. You calm down. Frank's wondering where the link is too. Every time I start streaming, he starts doing stuff like that so that he can probably get my attention. Right? He's just over there making his little bed. You can see it ruffling around over there in the background. Buddy, lay down. Good boy. But yeah, and the longer I'm there, I'm not really in a hurry to get back to the 40-hour work week. I've had plenty of time to work out. I've had plenty of time to do stuff on here, still get my schoolwork done. And right after this is over, I have to do a class, or do a test for one of my classes, because I take one in person and one online, and they're both accelerated courses. It's actually been a nice reprieve. I get a decent amount of ice time right now. I've lost a bunch of weight. You can't really see it in my face right now unless you go back and look at like my streams from like last playoffs, not the one that just occurred, but the one before that. And it's been a lot easier to fast and do everything like that, because like work is what made me get bored and eat. And links up, awesome. Thank you. Then I would come home and eat more and all that type of stuff. So all right, let's get this pulled up here. Let me get a good side-by-side going. Mandatory NHL Edge advertisement. Let me get this set up. Close that out. Move this over here. The stream will begin shortly. All righty. So yeah, it's actually been pretty good. It's something I put off for a long time. I didn't want to do it, but I kind of lost my incentive to go to college when the ability to fly those went out the window, and I didn't really want to go anywhere. I didn't want to go to begin with. The only reason I was going to do it is I had to have a degree and I had to be an officer to fly, and then it never happened. So I lost all earthly desire to go to college for a long time. But then I came down here and I was like, oh, let me give it another go. And it's been a lot better this time around. BTS says yellow. Can't wait to see how they play today. Yeah, and I read the lines a little bit ago. If you weren't here, that top line is going to be fun to watch. And then Trikazov and Ryabkin are playing together, so I'm looking forward to that. What are you studying? I am pursuing cybersecurity with a intention of being a information assurance analyst. So it kind of builds on the stuff I used to. In a way, it kind of builds on the stuff I used to do when I was in the Navy and everything. Dylan says, well, we get to see the new sweaters in action. Yeah, I know. Can't wait, says BTS. Elijah Knight, links up. Thank you again. Colby McLam also says links up. Snail emoji. Todd Davis says, do you think they'll wear the new away jerseys? Yeah, they're wearing them. Yeah, they're wearing them. Like I said, eventually I'm going to do something where I take a closer look at them. They've not really grown on me at all. I'm not like I said, I'll get one, but I'm not really in a hurry to get it. Hell, I might buy one and then just do like a raffle giveaway for it or something like that. Have everybody like buy a $1 ticket and see what happens from there. Like, I might do something like that. they did too much but didn't do enough at the same time. Like if that had been up to me, something different would be on the right shoulder. And I'm not even saying like the strut and stormy thing is like NC State specific, because it's not, because the Tar Heels have a very similar logo with the strutting ram. And that's just kind of a college thing in general, it seems. I I would rather them have done something different, because it looks like they slapped a car decal on the Mona Lisa with throwing the strut and stormy on there. And then the bottom stripe, like the red and the gradient stripe, looked good with the black, and it stands out way too much on the white. That's my big thing about it. If they had just done something a little bit simpler, I think it would have been a lot better. So if they'd left the bottom of it white, because the sleeves look good, the sleeves look good, the font, the way it contrasts with having the red numbers on the back and the black numbers on the red on the sleeves, I think that looks good. The red buckets look good. They didn't change anything with the gloves. They kept the same gloves, which I figured they would, but I'm glad they did, because I really like those gloves. I have 2 pairs of those, actually. One of them I display here, and the other one I play in sometimes. And then there's also like the socks, I think, look really good. They kept the red buckets, which I was happy about, which during preseason, I don't know if they'll do what they'd been doing in the past where everyone was wearing the white ones. Maybe they'll do that. I don't know. I would have, that sweater was 2 small changes away from being something that I would consider buying on day one. And I think the reason people think the strut and stormy is a little bit biased towards State is because the team already has the same colors as NC State does. So that might be part of it. I just wish that they had made a couple of little changes to it. But apparently it also flew off the shelves. I just didn't like it. And like I said, I'm not in a hurry to get one. The next one I'm going to get as soon as I can do it. I haven't got my Nikishin one yet, and I was going to get the white one that just got phased out of him, because the only one I have like that is my Made in Canada Aho one, and that's never leaving my closet except to get it signed and then get it framed. That's the only way that one's coming out. Like, that's my prized possession. And I'm going to take that one and hopefully get that done one of these days. Like, if I could just meet the guy for all of 5 seconds and get it signed. And once that's done, like the white one, the one that just got phased out, is the only one that I don't have. See, like on the ice with the whole kit, they don't look bad. I can't get over that strut and stormy thing, dude. It just doesn't look good. But yeah, let me put this in here in case anybody needs it. I'll periodically add that in there. In case anybody joins the show late so that they can get the link. Yeah, Todd, I agree. It's just that sweater was not made to be worn in conventional NHL settings. And it really shows. I'm just not in a hurry to get one. I'm just not. I've got 2 25ths. I've got my black one that I'm never going to wear again, probably. My D'Angelo one. I want to get that one framed as well. I would love to get that one signed. Let's see. It's just, see, at this angle it looks almost Red Wings-ish at the angle they have on here right now. That's another thing to consider. It's just I'm not digging it that much. All right, let's see here. Oh, damn it, I left my pen downstairs. Now I'll get it at the first time out. I'll do the be right back thing, and then I'll do it. Because they'll do regular media style timeouts and everything like that for this, if I remember correctly from watching it the last few years. Because at one point not too long ago, this was, and when I say not too long ago, I mean like 7-8 years ago, the Canes participating in this was more fun to watch than the actual Canes. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, Nadeau did a good job taking away the middle of the ice there on the back check, and he had a good forecheck before that, so that's a good sign. Helped execute a good zone exit there, getting that stick in there. That's good. Because he's one of the guys I'm watching a lot because right now he's Carolina's best prospect. Way to break that up. Good puck retrieval by Legault. He didn't get enough on it when he tried to wrap it around the boards, but let me turn the sound on over here on this now that it's going. Keep it low. Trikozov, is that's how it's actually pronounced? I was under the impression it was Trikozov. All right, let's see. Is he going to go for a big hit here? No. I'm surprised he didn't try to start a board battle there because that's one of the things he's really good at. Good pinch by Legault there. Or excuse me, that wasn't Legault. But Dink is another guy I'm going to be watching a lot, even though I think he could be a trade piece. They're not letting Florida spend a whole lot of time in their zone, so that's good. Bad turnover there. You got to recover that. There you go. Get that out. Good exit. Damn. Todd Ryapkin is wearing 64. Let's see if they can deny this transition here when Florida sets up this breakout. Good physicality by Legault there, and he prevented that centering pass at the same time. Good job. That kid's going to be good. Ooh, that was a big hit. All right, let's see how Badinka moves this puck out here. All right, good back check by Nadeau. Good puck recovery there. Good pass. They scored. No, they waved it off. What's up, Levy? What's up? You probably have already said it, but who are the Canes prospects you're looking at the most today? Nadeau, Charles Alexis Legault, Badinka, and Ryabkin. Why is there no goal? Can we at least wait until the regular season starts before we start having this type of shit? I guess they're saying he was in the crease and saying it was goaltender interference. That play, at least, though, that was a good job by Ryabkin to drive the middle of the ice there, and Badinka stepping up and joining the rush and everything like that. I don't understand that one. I mean, not that it really matters, but these guys are playing for a job, so. But Dinka, one of the biggest things I'm looking for with him is his puck movement, like how much he can join the rush and how many breakouts he can generate and all that type of stuff. You guys got to kind of stop turning the puck over in the defensive zone there. Fucked up that entry. There you go. Good forecheck. All right. Well, we got a second here. Thoughts on Ekberg? I'm going to start formulating those today. I actually don't know much about Ekberg. Dealey, what's up, dude? How are you watching the game? It's on the website here. I'll share the link again. Skylark Hurricanes. Yep. That's what I've got it up on right now. They're doing a good job of keeping him on the perimeter in the defensive zone for the most part. Imasalmi did a good job winning that puck battle there. And out. Good job. Almost. Good job by Legault there. When he went for that puck retrieval, he knew not to wrap it all the way around. He just kind of boxed that other guy out and tapped it a little bit to leave it there. It was a good drop, and it led to that breakout there, so good job by him. Oh, what a move by Fuss. See, that's what I'm saying, man. That guy's puck possession game is really good. His skating's really good. He needs to get a little bit faster, but his edge work is really good, and it works really well in concert with his hands. All right, let's see how Nadeau positions himself here for this breakout because he likes to get up high. Good job by Felix Ungersorm on that puck protection there. All right, now while we got a second, we'll catch up here some more. J-Dub, what's up, buddy? Even in the offseason, they're bullshitting away our goals. Yeah, that's what I was like. Can we wait a few more weeks before we have to start dealing with this? I think they were saying Badinka was in the crease and the goalie couldn't make the save because he couldn't do his job. And this isn't a situation where they're like, the war room's not going to review this. Todd Davis says, I have web browser on my Xbox, so I'm watching on my big screen. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. I might have a PS5 here shortly. I don't know yet. I kind of want to get one because I want to play the new NASCAR game, and it's not coming out on PC immediately. I hope it doesn't suck because Ignition was awful, and that's why I started playing iRacing. But iRacing is expensive and time consuming, so that's going to be something that I just kind of do once in a while. Like I'll pay for the subscription, play it for a month, and then put it down again. You know, with DCS, at least once I buy an aircraft, it's mine for forever. Skylar says, dang, Fuss has handles. Yeah, he does. And it works really well with how good his edge work is because he can work really well in tight and create time and space. Ryadkin covering up the point. Good pinch. There we go. That looked good. Okay. Because I was like, I knew he wasn't calling a penalty. His arm wasn't up. Seth Jarvis mentioned. And they iced it again. That's got to be the third or fourth time they've done that. That breakout was kind of sloppy and led to that icing. J-Dub says, looks like our main squad last year, passing needs improvement and entries need work. Yeah, the entries in particular really need work from top to bottom. Like the few times I got to sit down and watch the Wolves last season, their entries were not as good as they could have been. But I've gotten to where I don't like the AHL primarily because of their playoff format. Like they want to try and, you know, certain teams in it. Chicago Wolves want to LARP as the 33rd NHL team, and the first round in the playoffs there is a participation trophy if your division's big enough. And no, it is not the second best league in the world. That belongs to the KHL. You put a mid KHL team against the most recent Calder Cup team, they would probably destroy them. That is that going to get called? No. Okay. I was worried that was going to be a tripping penalty there, but they're letting them play for the most part so far. I wish I had a fraction of the percent of the skating ability of these guys. God, it's so amazing to watch them play. You're going to be quick getting it out after making drop passes like that in your own zone, guys. Low quality shot, but whatever. Colby says, I guess I'm also selflessly watching for possible checkers. I hope we're reaffiliated with them soon. I want nothing to do with the Chicago Wolves organization. This affiliation's it's better than what it was, out of the simple fact that everything that's been going on isn't public, but it's still a train wreck of an affiliation, and they have a history of being difficult to be affiliates with. There's fuss with that puck protection again. I want to keep an eye on that. Dude, that was excellent by Fuss there to hold up for that split second and wait for Nadeau to get back on side, or whoever that was in the offensive zone. Fuss is impressing me right now, and I wasn't expecting to watch him that much, but he's making himself noticeable. Skylark says, bro, why do our prospects struggle with zone entries? Also, YouTube needs to allow to edit YouTube live comments. I agree. Preach, yeah. I'm sure that even though the public aspect of the Wolves and Hurricanes have died down as far as how tumultuous that relationship is, I'm sure behind the scenes there's still plenty of stuff going on. And everything that I said about it, that I said that reporter wasn't reporting news, their owner came out and basically confirmed everything I already said. Water is wet. 2 + 2 = 4. It was pretty obvious what was going on. They didn't want to reaffiliate. It's just they were the last two people that, that there was. It's kind of like when we were in the military and we got paired up for PT tests and you got paired up with somebody you didn't like because you were the last two that got paired up. J-Dub says, I am not ready for the nonstop blender from Rod. Use the 82 game so you don't do the mixing of lines in the playoffs. Feels like Rod refuses to give the lines continuity. That's part of the reason why the defense has been relatively successful, even though I think that they're going to see some blending this year too, just because of all the new faces and having 4 left-handed guys and 2 right-handed guys. Let's see what Ryadkin does on this face-off. Tried to win it with his foot when he got tied up. Good play defensively there by Ryabkin. Didn't get it out, but way to disrupt the middle line, or way to disrupt the middle of the ice there and not let them have that lane to shoot. Yeah, Kuzeyev is he's a big boy. But yeah, and then I'm just the defense, when it stayed relatively unchanged, they could acclimate and work out a lot of their issues. I wish that same principle would apply to the forwards a little bit more. I need to see Ryabkin lay somebody the hell out. And Charles Alexis Legault. I want both of them to destroy somebody for my own entertainment. Legault did a good job there initiating a board battle as opposed to letting him try to make a centering pass. Step up on him. There you go. Get that out. Good job. Oof. He had enough time to make a sandwich and he still missed the net. It happens a lot faster when you're watching it, or it happens a lot faster when you're the guy doing it than the one watching it. What we perceived as 0.2 of a second, he perceived as like 1/2 of a 100th of a second. Frame of reference is a thing, but this is just still kind of funny to me. Canes are retaining the offensive zone here pretty well. Kochekov, is that you? Good job by Felix Ungerstorm to help coordinate that zone exit there. Dude, this kid's impressing me today. Fuss is really impressing me today with the stuff he's doing with possession and the puck protection and everything like that. See, even though Nadeau's a sniper, he'll still go to the dirty areas, go to the front of the net, which is a good thing. Because a lot of times sometimes you just got to get a greasy one and bang it in. You can't do everything by making time and space for yourself and You're not always going to have that to be able to get the quality shot you want. Good defensive play by that Florida player. Is good poke check. Oh, God. Good save by Kuzayev there. Skylark says, yes, J-Dub, I hope he finally learns and he lets Freddie rest during the playoffs. Yeah, or at least let him rest before it so that he's ready to go. Like if they go to like Kochakov and a call-up for the last 2 or 3 games of the season, because Freddie is a great goalie, but there's times where he's made of glass. But when he's not hurt, he plays very well. And the hallmark of knowing if Freddie Anderson is hurt or not is typically how well he seals the post, from what I've seen. Good poke. Yeah, they're struggling to clear, but they're keeping it on the perimeter. Good golf wedge there. Get your lines changed. Yep. Elijah Knight says, literally my same thought, Cooch. Yeah, that was very Kochekov of him. I mean, that's kind of a thing with Russian goalies in general. It seems that they tend to be a little bit more aggressive. Kochekov takes it, he dials it up to 11 when he doesn't need to, though. I.e., the game against the last time the Hurricanes played against the Coyotes, when they were still the Coyotes, obviously. Him coming out to like the face-off dot, I was like, dude, what are you doing? If you wanted to be a defenseman, that ship has sailed. Good read by Kuzayev there, because that puck deflected a little bit. J-Dub says Fuss always seemed to do this before the season and just falls back to reality when he's sent down. Yeah, I'm hoping now that he's grown a little bit. He's listed at 6 foot as opposed to 5'11", and I think he was a few pounds heavier, which is the biggest thing he needed was to grow. All right, let's see how Fuss handles this here. Trying to mitigate this breakout. Legault's going to be one of those guys you don't hear a ton about if he makes it to the NHL, unless he's not playing well. He's very much a shutdown guy. He's almost a stay-at-home defenseman. Good forecheck. Oh, shit. Bad bounce. Damn. J-Dub says 4:20 on the clock. Colby McLam says Kane's giving up late period goal. Drink. Yeah, these kids are going to be good fits. Now all I need to see is them take a power play out there, generate like 17, 18 quality chances that nobody shoots on, and then it just completely passes them by, and then I'll know that they're with the culture. They got to get a step back into it. They're playing like they have the wind knocked out of their sails a little bit right now. Between having a disallowed goal and a bad bounce end up being in a goal like that, I understand it, but they're taking their foot off the gas right now. Oof. Good stick. Good job by Kuzeyev looking through that little bit of traffic there and getting the glove on it. J-Dub says, yeah, they really in sync with the actual squad with the late goal allowed. Yeah, that was a very Carolina Hurricanes like. This literally looked like the 24-25. Yeah. Yeah, sad but true. All right, gentlemen. I will be right back. I'm going to go grab a Gatorade and grab a pen because I actually want to take some notes and everything from this. And I forgot to grab it while I was downstairs. So I will be right back. Feel free to talk amongst yourselves. I'll read more comments when I get back and all that type of stuff. see. Jado says I'm going to order out a late lunch BRB as well. Speaking of late lunches. Hey. Set. Spin. Good boy. Can I get a shake? Good boy. Lay down. Shake. Good boy. Go lay down. Good boy. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Shark. Oh, you missed it. Slump says leftover burgers. If you're referring to Frank, he just got a regular doggy treat. What are you doing, pal? Lay down. I gave him a regular dog treat just then. He's around 8. I got him in 7 or 8. I got him in 2018, and they said he was a year old. And there's no way, because he grew a lot after I got him. Because when I got him, he was 36 pounds. And there was one day I woke up and he was much bigger. His pigmentation had changed some, and he ended up clocking out at between 50 and 51. Like, he's a much bigger dog than what I initially planned on having, because I lived in an apartment, so I didn't want a super big one. And he's always a little ball of energy. He's calmed down a little bit now, but when I first got him, man, he just wanted to run and play all the time, and he still does. He's just learned time and place. But yeah, no, I've had him since August of 2018. So we just had Gotcha Day recently last month. So I have no idea when he was actually born or anything like that. I got him from a shelter, and I wasn't planning on getting a dog then. I got talked into it, and best bad decision I ever made. He's a good boy. And we got our little Chihuahua too, but he's downstairs with his mom. So now he looks all disappointed because I don't have more. You'll get more later, buddy. I promise. It's a sad-looking dog. Slump says I'm referring to your lunch. I actually only eat once a day now. I typically just have dinner at like sometime around 4 or 5 at the absolute latest. I try to not eat after 6 because like let me see if I can find it. Hold on. The one on the left is me in the 2024 playoffs. The one on the right was from about 3 weeks ago. I was nearly 270 pounds in the one on the left, and now last I looked, I think I was 231 because I don't weigh myself very often. I only do it every couple of weeks, and I'm lifting again now too, so I'm definitely going to put some muscle back on. But and that I made a deal with myself that I would only go to a Canes game when I got down to 200. So I'm definitely not going to make. At least I want to make it to the January 6th game so I can shout obscenities at Mikko Rantanen. Does he shed much? Oh yeah, you should see the back of my truck because we go on CARRIDES. You probably know why I'm having to spell that out a whole lot, because if I actually said the word, he would jump up. He sheds like crazy. Not so much down here, because down here there's not really a winter time, so he doesn't grow in a winter coat so much. But when we first got here and he was shedding his summer coat, and it's warmer down here than where we came from, then he did some shedding. I have to vacuum my man cave up here pretty frequently, and when he gets on that beanbag over there, because he goes and he sits in that, sometimes it gets pretty insane. So, but yeah, he sheds. He sheds a lot. He actually sheds more than just about any other dog I've ever seen. Our little dog doesn't shed a whole lot because he's 3/4 Chihuahua and 1/4 Yorkie. So he's not a Chorkie. And you know, when my girlfriend got him, they lied to her and said he was a full Chihuahua. He only sheds like when he's nervous. So if like something's going on that's making him nervous, which is like everything, because he's only 7 pounds, he'll sit there and shiver and have hair come off him. But other than that, he doesn't shed a whole lot, but the big dog sheds a whole lot. Yeah, I'm talking about you. Now he's laying over here. I know you want more, pal. I'll give you more later, I promise. We'll go for a WALK later, too. We'll go for a nice long one because the weather's nice today. And I can just do that before I shower. Then I don't have to worry about it again until in the morning before I go to work. Slump says, congrats. I know you have more to go, but looking good. Thank you. I appreciate it. It got a lot easier once I got out of the Northern Virginia area and I wasn't so stressed out and I wasn't stress eating all the damn time. Down here, I go outside a whole lot more because the weather's a lot more enjoyable. And I just generally am happier living down here. It's much, much nicer down here. It's mentally, physically, everything. I've been a lot better since I got away from Northern Virginia because it was bad. We actually at one point considered, with all the places that we were potentially going to move to, the Triangle was actually on the list, and I'm glad we didn't move back there because I know Raleigh's not exactly a big booming metropolis, but I don't even want to live in that type of city. Like, I don't even want to live in a small city. That's why we live in the Charleston area, but we're nowhere near Charleston. I'm not going to say specifically where, obvious reasons with some of the stuff that's gone on lately. And I know a lot of people have negative opinions on me in regards to not just sports, but other things, even though I hardly talk about the other things. So there's that to consider as well. I want that to stay like that because I don't like my Top Gun poster being covered up by the donation link. All right, we're still on commercial here over with this. But yeah, we'll take some notes here this time around, and I'll see if I can rewind this and clip it and everything like that. Do some video reactions to some of the moments that we had in here and everything like that. That's the biggest reason I take notes, so that I can go back and quantify my thoughts and know exactly what I want to look at. That's why it's funny when people say I don't watch the games, and I'm like, I have used so many of these that it's not even funny. I've got a drawer over here full of notepads, full of notes from me watching the games. But typically the people arguing with me, they only look at the box score and watch the condensed game the next morning. And that's one of my big arguments of why solid defense is underappreciated, because that's how most people consume hockey media. Now, you're not going to be able to watch every game. People have to work. They have to go to bed so they can get up early, all that type of stuff. But there's a lot of bias towards offensively potent players, and two-way players and good defensive players are not recognized as much because of the time we live in and everybody consuming or needing to consume their media in a short amount of time. And that's just part of the problem with it, I think. That's part of the reason why I make videos like the one I made about Jacob Slavin, which I've got part 2 started. It's just going to be a while before I finish it, just because I take my time with those. And even then, they don't always turn out the way that I want to. Slumped also says, I live in a small city about 30 minutes from Lenovo Center, and it's growing so much, annual growth rate of 4.49%. Oh, boy, that's a lot. Yeah, that's another reason I didn't want to go down there, because, you know, I joke about this type of stuff, about like, you know, all the Yankees need to go home. I wish the Northerners would stop moving there and everything like that. But at the same time, though, it's kind of like, I wouldn't have felt like I was moving back to North Carolina going there. I really wouldn't have. And I already grew up in a town in Fayetteville that already had a ton of people from other places because of Fort Bragg and Pope Air Force Base, Army Airfield, whatever the hell they call it now. They've changed it twice. You know, it's like, I want to be around my people. I don't want to bother anyone else. I don't want to change anybody else's way of life, what they think or how they vote, but I want to, you know, have homogeneity of culture generally with the people I'm around. That's not to say that I don't have friends from up north. I have plenty of them. I've been playing hockey for, let's see, about 23 years. I'm still not good at it, but so I've made my fair share of friends from up north. And yeah, it's just, I didn't really feel like I was moving back to the South, and we decided we wanted to go further south. Now, some other things that I love about South Carolina as opposed to North Carolina. One of the first things I saw down here, and I know they have it in North Carolina too, but it was cool to see it where I live. Gas with ethanol in it is really, really awesome, because I don't have to fill up my truck so much. it's a little bit more expensive, but time is money, and it's less time that I have to spend going to the gas station to fill up. Vehicle registration down here, there's no state inspection, which I also like. Take care of your own vehicles, make sure that they're in functioning order, and not rely on somebody to tell you that they are or aren't, which is also cool. Generally, the vehicle taxes down here are significantly lower, because in Virginia I was paying about 4 times as much for my truck. Thank you, Fairfax County. Fuck you, Fairfax County. Than I was for paying for it down here. Because when I got the bill for it initially, when I went to register it, I was like, I figured that it was, because that was in April, and I figured that was just until the end of the calendar year or the fiscal year. And they said, no, that's for 12 months. I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. $308, that was like a month and some change worth up where I used to live of that. It's like I'm able to use my stipend from my GI Bill to, kind of make my ends meet and everything right now. I would have never been able to do that up there. So, like, we were going to leave either way. It just took us a couple of years to get it done. The first place we were going to move to was Huntsville, Alabama, and it was worse than DC. We met more people from DC in Huntsville than we met people from Huntsville. And we were like, yeah, this ain't going to work. And then, not to mention, the jobs there were all fake, which they need to start really cracking down on that. But I should expect nothing less from a scumbag organization like LinkedIn. Like, they really suck. Like, you're better off looking for a job on Facebook. Slump says, that's my biggest pet peeve. Nobody respects good defensive players and just love anyone who can shoot the puck. Yeah, that's the whole thing. And that's something that's part of the reason this channel exists, is because of me wanting to highlight the little things that a player does well, and it happened more often. Because when you have people that are literally employed by NHL Network, and you know who I'm talking about, that will say things like, if Jack Hughes was healthy, he'd be better than Austin Matthews. Jack Hughes gets knocked over by slight gusts of wind. We saw in Four Nations how awful he was. But he's supposed to be better than Austin Matthews. No, don't give me that. Pound for pound, no. Matthews is way better. I don't even think Jack Hughes is a top 20 player in the league. He's got the skating ability of a top 20 player. He's got the puck handling ability and the off puck routes of a top 20 player. He's improved defensively from when he first came in the league, but he's still a train wreck on the back check and in his own zone. Like, he really is. All right, we're getting ready to get started here again. I'm like 5 minutes from Wake Forest, if you know where that is. Yeah. Like I said, I grew up in Fayetteville, but I've spent my fair share of time in the Triangle. And another reason I'm glad I don't live there. That's my go hang out with my friends there, like AB and all that, and go to a game, and just, that's my resort island, if you will. That's somewhere I like only going once in a while. And, I'm not going to get political, but that had a little bit to do with it as well, as to why I didn't want to move back to North Carolina and specifically live anywhere in the Triangle. And now he's getting on the beanbag. Good job, buddy. All right, let's get back to it. Him and Aho are both better than Jack Hughes. What the hell is this dude talking about? Nadeau kind of lost his man there at the point a little bit, but he contained him enough. Good pass. Dude, Nadeau had hardly any daylight there. Good shot. That whole play was sick, but Nadeau put that one in a coin slot, dude. I hear raise up. That's the biggest thing that Bradley Nadeau brings to the table, personified right there. Good job by Lagoa getting that shot through traffic. Those low silent wristers like that, they can generate. It didn't happen there, but they can generate rebounds a lot. And when you have a team that retains the offensive zone as much as the Hurricanes can, that's a very valuable asset. That's one of the things I loved about Tony D'Angelo's game is his ability to get those silent wristers through traffic. That was a good hit. Oh, God. Kazayev came up big there. Oh, offside. I would have hit the post probably. But Dink has definitely got an active. He's really active with the way that he likes to roam the blue line on his side, so that's good to see. Nikishin's kind of the same way where he likes to keep his feet moving and then react to what happens, as opposed to you have someone like Slavin who tends to stay relatively still and then but his edge work is so good so he can just push off, step off and react to whatever's happening during the other team trying to exit the zone and everything like that. But Dink is definitely someone who seems like he likes to move around the blue line a whole lot to, maybe make himself a passing option. So that's good to see. You can't give him the outside like that. You took enough of it away, but that was bad. Yeah, it's a good thing they're wanting someone from Florida standing there. Otherwise, that puck would have been in. Guys, come on, move it out. Thank you. Disrupted it there, but you got to go get it. Yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about. Legault's not super active on the blue line like Badinka is, which it's fine. There's more than one way to do it. It's just I wanted to point out that difference. Good back check. Good hit. Good job disrupting that shot there in the slot. That's off. Slump says sick goal or sick play. Good thing he actually shot the puck rather than saying he had no room and didn't pass up the shot like every other Canes player. A lot of Canes players will shoot in that situation, but it's more of a hope play. With Nadeau, that was deliberate. He knew exactly where he was putting that puck. That wasn't a throw it on the net and see what happens thing. That was a I know where this puck is going thing. And the Hurricanes sorely lack that. That was a wicked shot. Florida's getting in behind the defense way too easily. They got to clean that up. Good forecheck by Nadeau. Good pressure will create situations like that. Get there. Good golf wedge. Go get it now. Slump says, I don't hate what I see from the Canes. I don't hate it either, but they've got some things they got to clean up. The transition play is a little sloppy. The Florida's getting in behind the defense a little bit more than they should. Forechecking is solid. Slump says, has there been no power plays? Not yet. I don't know if I want to see one considering the struggles this organization has had at times with those. Good pinch. Slowed that transition play down. Stay with it. Good job. Off the glass and out. Good stick. Good job. They're starting to disrupt them a little bit more from getting to the middle of the ice than they were. They were doing it really well in the beginning of the game, and then Florida scored. They took their foot off the gas. Now they're looking better in that regard of the zone defense. Kobe McLam says who scored actually had to work. Bradley Nadeau. It was a wicked shot too. He didn't have a whole lot of room to put it in, and he made it work. He was kind of at an angle, but that looked like he wasn't. It wasn't a hope play. It was that was calculated. Legault did a really good job there, not jumping in too much and then coiling back and being ready to go back if he needed to. That way, he kind of made him, it kind of turned himself into a 50-50 situation where he could jump in there. Good save. Where he could generate a shot, maybe, but he also was in a good position to be able to get back. Little nuanced things like that are very important. Dude, the other guy doesn't even have his gloves off. You're not playing for the actual Florida Panthers yet. What the hell are you doing? Oh wait, there was somebody else with their gloves off. Oh, okay. All right. Or was there? I'm confused because the camera just panned over to that situation right there. All right, let's see what happens. If they enforce the instigator rule correctly, he's done. That's 2-5 in game. Yo, that's no. You can't be having shit like that where. Okay, I want to see what they call here. What the? Okay. I guess the rules just don't matter anymore. Then again, let's face it, Florida gets away with shit, I guess, even in a prospects tournament. That's another thing. Dealey, good point, because if he dropped his gloves and didn't have the fight strap on, he's done. That's a game misconduct by itself. Okay, I'm confused. Did they like? Okay, what did they hand out for penalties? Tell us the penalties. All right, so coincidental penalties of some sort because it stayed 5-on-5. Really like what I saw with Nadeau with that aggressive forecheck there. I don't know, slumped. If you're gonna play with NHL rules, enforce NHL rules. I don't care if it's a prospects tournament. Good job by Robidas. Hard work. I don't understand what the fuck just happened. Good possession play there. Oh, okay. That better be a fucking penalty then if the other one was. Shut the. It was a bit of a cross check. What was the other thing then? Jesus Christ. It's not even the regular season. We're already getting fucked on calls. Plenty of room. Okay. We're starting this gimmick early this year, I guess. Good defense. They got him behind the defense again. You got to clean it up on the zone exits here, guys. Damn, even Florida's prospects play freaking dirty. Oh, offside. Carolina's got to like answer with some physicality here. You can't get pushed around like you just did on those last couple of shifts. If anybody here wants to make themselves noticeable for what this organization needs, now's a good time. Legault's drifting further down to the top of the circle to try and generate shots than he was last year, because I watched him a lot last year in this tournament, and he couldn't get away fast enough. He had a little bit of time, but not as much as he could have made for himself if he moved a little bit quicker. Because I have bailed him out there. Yeah, the defense is struggling really bad right now, especially if Florida gains the zone. They're able to stay there a lot longer than they should be. What was that turnover, dude? It's not a situation where you can just throw it up the middle. Slumps. Oh, it's a new goalie. Okay, I didn't know that they changed it out, because I know that Florida didn't change theirs out. I didn't know if Carolina did too, because a lot of times in these tournaments, they change them at the 10-minute mark of the second period, the first whistle after it, or right before it, or something like that. But it was a good save, because that was Nikita Quap then. Robodog, good job on that face-off win there. Good job by Fuss to come up with that puck. Let's see what he does with it here. Good pass. Fuss is doing really good. I hope he can build on this, because he's having he's Carolina's best player right now. Fuss is. God, he would be such an offensive zone 5-on-5 and power play asset with the way he plays. Way to get back, but he should have never got behind you to begin with. Florida's flying the zone way too easy. I'm drawing a blank on his name, but the guy who's coaching the Chicago Wolves. I'm trying to remember his name for the life of me. I know it's not Warsofsky now. It's that other guy. I can't remember his name. It's a good hit. Damn it. Good defense there. Make good on that. Way to force that turnover. Okay, that was a better shift so far. Because they've not been impressing me the last few minutes. What's with these breakouts, dude? This zone defense and defending off the rushes is giving me an aneurysm. This is not going well in the defensive zone. Wait for it. There you go. You're back in. Lagos is going to circle the wagons here, or not. He's going to lose it. Shoot that. All right, made himself a passing option and got a silent wrister on that. That's the second time Legault has done that in this game, so that's good. Even though he's more of a shutdown guy, if you can add some offense and maintain your defensive game, always a good thing to do. It looks like maybe he can do that. Good block. The intangibles and the defensive side of Nadeau's game is actually a little bit further ahead than where I thought it would be, at least in this game. Because you can't play for the Hurricanes and be a one-zone player, but he does not look like a one-zone player. Plus, Nadeau's playing as hard as he is because he knows if he wants a chance of making the team with the logjam that there is, he's got to really make them think about it. Let me write some stuff down here. Ekberg's got to get a little bit faster. We were saying that about him when we looked at him before me and Matthew did. But it's noticeable how he's a little bit slower than everybody else out there. Like, he's below average on speed, especially for a forward that's a playmaker. Felix Ungersorm appears to have gotten faster. Good block. Not to mention Ekberg is slow. He needs to be able to, like, create time and space in a lot of situations where he can't protect the puck, but his vision is really good. All right, this looks more like the normal Hurricanes. Okay, delayed penalty here. All right, power play time. Let's see who we got on this power play here. Nystrom, Robidas, Nadeau, Fuss. I didn't get to see the other one before the camera panned out. Ryabkin's over on the left wing for this. That makes sense for him to be the guy that's closest to the net, though, because he can bully his way to the front of it. Take your time with it. Not bad. Good button hook there. This cameraman's making me sick. Puck movement there is pretty good. The puck movement there is pretty good. The couple of shots they took were pretty quality. I'm not upset about this yet. Let's see if they put the second unit. I don't know if they're going to put the second unit out there or no. They're leaving the first unit out. It makes sense. There's only 33 seconds left, and then you can put the first unit right back out there for the start of the second period. But maybe they won't do that because they want to get a look at everybody. But everybody that's on the ice right now has the potential to be an NHL mainstay. So at the moment. And Florida's content just to keep it right there. Yeah, that's going to do it for that until the end of the power play. All righty. Let's get to some more of the comments here. Dealey, what's up, dude? By the way, I haven't seen you much lately. It's good to see you again, pal. I feel they messed up Ungersorm when they moved him to center last year in Chicago. He was a very good winger, not so good at center. hasn't gotten his game back since. Here, let me get this muted over here and then come back over here. So this is actually a really, really good thing to discuss. Part of the reason I think they were experimenting with the idea of putting Felix Ungersorm at center is the organization kind of lacked it there. Now you've got Ryapian that could potentially fill that role later. And y'all know I'm a big KK guy, even though I'm afraid that his time in Carolina is limited. The one good thing there with that is a very valid point that maybe moving him there kind of stunted his development. For instance, Aho spent his first 2 seasons as a wing. And then when they decided to try him out at center, when it was becoming apparent that Victor Rask was not going to be that guy, I think that was a better way to go about it, even though that was out of necessity as well. That was a better way to go about it because Aho at least had some NHL time under his belt, and Rod Brindamore and him clicked really well. And like I said, I made that one long video that or not long video, but that one analytical video I made, which is probably still my most viewed video ever on this channel, the one that I called Sebastian Aho, a modern Rod Brindamore. Brindamore was able to infuse a lot of his game into Aho's. He's not as physical. He's definitely more of a separate the puck from the player than player from the puck type of guy. But a lot of the elements of the defensive awareness, the back checking, stuff like that, it was already there for Aho. The greasy defensive work and everything like that was already there for Aho. Rod just kind of built on that. And Aho even said, and it's in near the end of that video, where he said he didn't really coach me much on the offensive side of the game. It was the defensive details that they looked at, because Aho, like the defense, came standard with, or I'm sorry, the offensive side of the game came standard with him. There wasn't much to change about him there as a center with moving him to wing. So I definitely believe that Felix, there's not a whole lot of players you can do that with. Guys that are drafted as wingers that can become centers, especially if you're talking about a guy who's habitually, objectively speaking, a top 10 to 15 center like Aho is. There's not a whole lot of players you do that. Normally it's the other way around. Normally guys get drafted as centers and end up being wingers. For example, Natchez, Stankoven, Jarvis. That happens a lot more often, exponentially more often, than someone getting moved from wing to center and it being successful and them becoming a better player at that position than they were at their previous one. That is not common. Them trying to do that a little prematurely in an experiment that was very, very unlikely to work anyway definitely had an effect on his development, in my opinion. And I think that you're absolutely right about that. That being said, if they keep him at wing now, that is where he's regressed. He can progress and get back to that point and then build on his game again. But I really like what I've seen out of him in this game. He has been the most noticeable player. Slump says great shift. Yeah, that was. And then it led to the power play, and the power play doesn't look bad. Let's see how it looks on fresh ice here when they come back out, because they'll still have about 30 seconds on it. Elijah Knight says, can we check the goal pegs at the third time the goal has come off? Yeah, it's coming off really easy. Dealey says 12 watching should be 12 likes. So the funny thing about that is when it comes to the way that the viewership thing on this works, it's kind of weird because like I've had people tell me, like they've actually DM'd me on like X and everything like that, and they're like, hey, did you like delete your channel or something? I'm like, no, of course not. If I did, I would have told everybody I was going to do that, and I've got no desire to do anything like that. And they're like, well, I'm not getting your notifications for some reason, and now all of a sudden I'm unsubscribed. And I'm like, what? I don't know why that happens. It's a thing with YouTube because I stream over on YouTube and X both. And on X, it's a little bit easier for me to get viewers there. Like, for example, there's a total of 169 people watching the stream, 157 on X and 14 on YouTube. A lot of times there's the notification thing, and then also there's times where YouTube doesn't seem to process that type of stuff, because I'll go back and look at my numbers in a live later and it's 2, 3, 4 times bigger than what it was. It's just weird. It's like YouTube doesn't record it necessarily in real time, because there's been times I've had 800 people on X and 4 on YouTube. Like that legitimately has happened. I'm kind of like, what? But, and then it's also like kind of middle of the day, still a little bit on Friday. There might be still some people at work or whatever. I'm not entirely sure what would happen there. Dealey says this is exactly why Rod should not put Jarvis or Stankoven at center. It might be a little bit less dangerous with them, but it's definitely a good rational reason to not want to go that route. So I understand where you're coming from with that as well. He also asked, do you think Suzuki would be a better option than Jankowski? I feel with Stahl and Jankowski, you do not have a true third line. I feel you have a 4A and a 4B. The Stahl line is a checking line, aka line 4. Yes, to a degree, I agree with that, because both of those, at this point in his career, and also for the role that he fills on the team, Jordan Stahl should effectively be a fourth center on the depth chart. Now that's even with Rod's insistence that there are no numbered lines, which is fine. But if we're talking about the roles that they play, how much ice time that they're going to eat up and everything like that, Jordan Stahl his line should be utilized as a checking line, and then how many minutes they're playing should be dictated essentially by what the score is. If Carolina is up by 2, then you have the Stahl line out there more to protect that lead. If Carolina is down by 2, you need to have Aho's line and things like that. Have them out there more often to be able to, close that game up and everything. And then there's also the fact of whether you're at home or on the road, whether you have last change or not, that, those things are factors as well. So maybe you could give Suzuki a look there. I know that, his development got kind of foobarred by the injuries as well. Same thing kind of happened to Trikozov last season, or I'm sorry, Trikozov apparently is how it's supposed to be pronounced. There's those things to consider. So maybe you could put him there. Jankowski is also a solid fourth line guy. See, what I really want to see is I want to see KK slotted in at 3 and then figure out something else for the second line center. That's why I was hoping they would make a trade, or Ivan Ryabkin goes absolutely nuclear somehow. But Ryabkin being able to make the jump from Muskegon to just the AHL this year is going to be a big enough leap on its own. So I'm not expecting to see Ryabkin play in the NHL, except for maybe they take a look at him the last couple of games of the season while they're resting the main guys in the lineup. And then Slump says, who do you think the next captain will be? Aho. There is not a doubt in my mind. There is literally zero doubt in my mind that Aho is going to be the next captain. I'm not a betting man, but that's something I would put money on. Now, I know a lot of people talk about Slavin being the captain, and Slavin, as you guys know, he's basically my favorite player. I mean, it's kind of a toss-up between those two, depending on what day you ask me and all that type of stuff, because, I'm a defenseman myself, so I'm partial to Slavin, but I'm also, when I did play forward, I was a two-way type of center, but I don't ever want to play forward again. I kind of don't like it. But the thing I was definitely more of a shutdown type of center when I played center. But here, let me move my mouse here for a second. It's kind of distracting me. So the biggest difference between Aho and Slavin, because Slavin's been there longer, but Slavin is a habitually calm person who never gets worked up about anything. He's very collected, and you need that. But every once in a while, you need someone that will go into that locker room when they've played like shit for an entire period or an entire 2 periods and go in there and say, hey, forgive me, I've been trying to use less language on here, but this is one time where I'm going to use it. You need someone who will go in there and say, hey, you motherfuckers, we're playing like shit. Get your head out of your ass and play like you want to be on this fucking team. Slavin clearly will not do that. Aho will. Aho will go in that locker room and say, hey, unfuck yourselves right this instant. And then after Aho's done blowing his top about something, that's when Slavin is going to come in there and kind of calm the waters. Good cop, bad cop, if you will. And then not to mention, Aho being the next captain has been foretold a long time ago. Because when Justin Williams got made captain, they put Aho's locker stall, or I don't want to say stall because that confuses people. Aho's locker seat was put directly next to Justin Williams intentionally. They've been grooming him to be the captain for years. Now, if Jordo voluntarily hands it over, then Aho gets it sooner. But I don't know if he's going to. That's between him and Rod, whatever decision they make there. Jordo's still doing fine as the captain. Now, people say that maybe he's not fiery enough, but we also don't know what goes on behind closed doors. But we know enough about the personalities of Aho and Slavin to know that Aho will go in there and drop F-bombs. Aho will tell them to play like you want your jokes to be funny. And when he's done breaking them down, Slavin's the guy who follows up on what he says, but does it in a calming way so that they can be like, okay, cool. We got yelled at. We suck. And Slavin's the one that comes in there and tells him, hey, here's how you don't suck, by the way. But he's not going to use words like that because that's not his personality. So that's the biggest reason I think biggest reasons I think Aho's going to be the next captain. And I think that is set in stone. I really do. These things right here, this VF2 F14 Motorworks model I have are hard to find. I'm not going to. I'd almost be willing to bet my possession of this particular model aircraft right here that Aho is going to be the next captain of this team. I am that confident of it. I am more confident Aho is going to be the next captain of the team as opposed to Slavin. More so than I was that Nikolai Ehlers was going to be a Hurricane, and I was saying that 2 seasons ago, that Nikolai Ehlers coming to Carolina was relatively inevitable. So, and then not to mention there were times where Carolina and Winnipeg talked about trading Ehlers, but Carolina didn't want to give Pesce up for him. So, but it's going to be Aho. You could maybe look at the business side of it, of who might be the more popular player between the two. Honestly, I couldn't tell you, because it's like, it's like when I went to games in other places. When you go to, say, Washington, for example, when I would go to games there when I lived there, the vast majority of the crowd, and this isn't me trying to talk badly about them or anything, the vast majority of the crowd had Ovechkin sweaters. And you would see Oshie, Wilson, Backstrom, Carlson, guys like that sprinkled in there. But like a large majority of that crowd had Ovechkin sweaters. When I went to a game in Florida, Kachuk, Barkov, that was about it. I saw one Forsling one. I saw one Lusterina one. I saw some old ones that had like, Bure on there, or Jokinen, Ole Jokinen, not UC, obviously. I saw some of those. When you go to a game in Raleigh, there's a pretty healthy mix as far as current players that are really popular. So I don't know who is the more popular player between the two as far as the fans are concerned. That wouldn't really have any impact. But if you're looking at it from a business standpoint, Aho might be the guy that's expected to do that from that standpoint as well. But I am thoroughly convinced, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that Aho is going to be the next captain of this team. That's how convinced I am of that. But yeah. Wookie says, who do you think that would be the top 3 players so far in this game? Nadeau, Felix Unger-Sorum for 2. Third, I'm not. Nobody else is really, really, really standing out to me right now as the third. But right now, Felix Unger-Sorum and Bradley Nadeau are really standing out. And I don't want to just arbitrarily say Justin Robidas as the other one because they're all playing on the same line together. Badink has looked okay. Legault has looked pretty good. Ryabkin's been kind of quiet, but this is also like, these guys have played against NHL prospects in a tournament like this before. Some of them have NHL time. Ryabkin's last actual hockey game was with the Muskegon Lumberjacks in the USHL. So he's probably adjusting to this a lot. Ely says, my hope is Suzuki gets a real chance. Points leader 1C, PP 1C was a great playmaker for Nadeau. I want to see the triple S lines, Fetch, Suzuki, Stankoven, power forward, playmaker, shooter. That could work. If Suzuki can take that step, that could work. Eventually, yeah. That's down the line if it does happen. Dealey says, Slavin the next C all the way. I do not like having your top player as captain. We saw that affect Eastall's production. One other thing about that, though, Eric Stahl did not have the best team around him, though. That's the only thing. Whereas Aho has a pretty good team around him. I really think it's going to be Aho. I'm thoroughly convinced of that for all the reasons I aforementioned. And the thing that affected Eric Stahl the most was, and I was guilty of this too, because I didn't know any better at the time. The fans were very, very down on Eric Stahl back then. A lot of them were, myself included. And they were blaming him for a lot of the things wrong with the team. Their 2 favorite people to blame were Eric Stahl and Cam Ward. Eric Stahl and Cam Ward had a garbage team around them. Or in the case of Cam Ward, a garbage team in front of them. Aho doesn't have that problem. Can the team around him be better? Yes. Will it be better? Yes, especially when you're talking about the young guys like Stankoven and Blake taking another step. Eric Stahl did not have a good team around him. They tried to, albeit, lackadaisically build a better one around him by trading Brandon Sutter to bring Jordo to Carolina. And God, I hate mentioning this, Alexander Semin, my most hated Hurricane of all time. So they made a lackadaisical, half-hearted attempt to build a good team around him. And then they went into Francis's 5-year rebuild that was showing absolutely no signs of topping out or of actually getting to where it was supposed to go. But I mean, I wouldn't be upset if Slavin was the next captain. I'm totally cool with that. I'm just thoroughly convinced that it's going to be Aho, and I also personally think Aho is the better option. But that's just me. That decision ultimately comes down. Probably that decision ultimately comes down to Rod more than anybody. So, a couple more years, we'll know. Slump says, when I go to Canes games and Minnesota fans, the Minnesota fans have a huge variety of people's jerseys in the crowd. I was expecting only Krill and Faber. Yeah, and just certain fan bases are like that. Like when I went to a game in Pittsburgh one time, and you would expect it to be all Crosby, Malkin, Letang, Fleury, but Pittsburgh's also a team that's been around for a long time, so you'll see a Francis in there. You'll see plenty of Lemieux. Let's see what else. Tom Barrasso. There were a bunch of them in there. A mix of old ones and new ones. I even saw a Dumoulin in there. So let's see how they finish this power play. Oh shit, did they start again? Oh wow, I straight up missed that. My bad. Yeah, puff, puff, pass, and no fire. Okay, what do we got going on here? Because I just flipped back over to it. Step up on him. There you go. Yeah, Legault kind of messed up on that. That was an ill-advised moment by him. Get it out. What the hell? That would have been the worst dog pog I'd ever seen in my life. The hell was that? Oh my god, I'm so glad that puck did. I thought for sure that puck was going to go out. I can't remember if they do overtime or shootouts in these tournaments either. Oof. Good transition play there to get that shot on net. There you go. Way to get on that loose puck. I like what I saw out of Ryabkin there driving the middle of the ice like that. Oh my God, get up, dude. Please don't be hurt. I liked what I saw with him driving the net. I hope he's all right. He probably maybe just tweaks something a little bit. He's skating off under his own power, so he's going back to the bench. So Quap was really, really patient there. I like that. Squared himself to the shot really well, but didn't get too aggressive and come out too far. If tied, they do 3-on-3 overtime, no matter what they do a shootout. Yeah, I remember them doing the shootout no matter what. I just couldn't remember if they did 3-on-3 like the conventional way, regardless of who won. Because I watched one of these games last year, and then I was at work during the other two. And then I barely remember watching them the years before that because I wasn't really covering stuff with the channel and everything like that back then. Jeez. Watch your man at the point there, Trick. Fuss went to the front of the net, but he probably should have moved his feet a little bit more there. But it's a good defensive play by the Florida player. Good poke check by Legault. We're going to be saying that a lot in the years to come, I think. Good job by Bedenka there on that puck retrieval. Way to slow it down. Good job. That's how you have good breakouts right there, just having a little bit of extra patience, and he had it there. And he followed up on, his own mistake there when he tried to get it out the first time. So that's good to see. Good breakout. Bad entry, though. Man, these guys are such canes. Gave him all that time and space there. Good stick. Ryabkin tried to make something out of nothing there with that play, getting a little bit ahead. It's hard to walk it through three guys there, but so far, like, I know he's been kind of quiet, but I'm pretty impressed with him at the moment. And bad entry there by good physicality there by Legault. Good controlled exit. Let's see what he can do with it here. I'm pretty sure he's pronouncing Ryabkin's name wrong. It sounds like he's saying Rabkin. Good hit by Ryabkin. Yes, more of that. Chips it in, follows up on it. See, the one thing I was worried about with Ryabkin is that he was going to chase hits. He's not doing that. That's a good sign. That's the second damn time they've just been able to just get in behind the defense and do that. Both the breakdowns on both Florida goals have. Yeah, that was not good. That's not a time to step up. That's a time that, like, you just kind of have good gaps and get your chance there and buy some time for the guys to back check that. Both those breakdowns were almost identical and they were both bad. No, the defense doesn't look good at all. They have flashes, but they're inconsistent, which is not normally what we see with the Canes, but this is also a bunch of prospects, though. So as the game gets closer to the end, you're going to see the better players out there more a little bit, I think, probably getting some more minutes. See, Ryabkin wasn't super noticeable in a lot of situations in the second period. The last couple of shifts, he was very, very noticeable. The kid's good. There's something to build on there. Nadeau's got some good puck pursuit going today, too. Oh, man. Poor kid. He's getting pushed off the puck a little bit too easy. He might need to put some more muscle on. Good play. Was that Badinka? Oh, no, that was Joel Nystrom. Okay. Good keep. Follow up on it. Get that forecheck going. Nope. Oh, here we go. Good entry by Badenka there. That's what you need out of a guy who's marketed as a two-way defenseman. Wookie, I'll get to your comment here in a second, buddy. Next stoppage of play. Out of play. That's a dog. No, that's a dog pog. And that over yonder is a dog. All right, let's take a really, really good look at this power play. But before we do that, Wookie says watching Ryabkin has been quietly doing the right things. I honestly believe whatever issues they talked about has been fixed. Just needs some time in the A. Yeah, they were worried about his. They were worried about some of his, like his attitude and everything, and that's apparently what really tanked his draft stock because he was supposed to go significantly higher than what he ended up being picked at with the Canes. So I'd rather have somebody I have to rein in than someone I have to get more out of. It's always a better problem to have. I know I say that about Kochekov all the time. All right, let's see. Solid entry. Take your time with it, guys. Settle it down and cycle it. Good job by Nadeau. Good puck retrieval there at the blue line to keep that in. I wonder. How much you want to bet Bradley Nadeau is going to be the only Hurricanes player that scores goals in this game? Like, see if we can get another one. Oof. Damn, these nets are coming out way too easy. But yeah, Ryabkin is doing some little things well. I was worried he was going to be a little bit over the top. He had a bad habit of chasing hits. I was expecting to see that in this game, and so far he's not. I like what I'm seeing out of him. But yeah, sometime the way he's playing, he's going to make it to the American League instead of staying in Muskegon at the rate it's going. If he's going to keep playing like this, there's not going to be much left for him to learn with the Lumberjacks. Good movement by Nystrom there. No shot, didn't take it. Oh God, he had a little bit of daylight above the shoulder there. It wasn't going to be all too dissimilar from his first goal if he scored just from a better position on the ice. God, this kid's got a wicked shot. I mean, I know that's been said a million times, but he put some heat on that damn thing. This kid's an NHL caliber player on his shot alone almost. Wookie says, I think Black is just so big that when he pushes off, the post is coming off. Yeah, that's a possibility too. Oh, good centering pass. What a pass on that entry by Ryapkin. He's starting to be noticeable now. He really is. That was a good little saucer play. Like quick little one-touch saucer pass like that, and be able to put it in the right spot when somebody's coming in the zone with speed like that, so then go to the middle of the ice. That was excellent. All right, Carolina's cleaned it up a little bit with letting Florida get in behind the defense. I hope they keep it that way. That was a good time for Nadeau to try and attempt to pass because he wasn't going to get a good shot there with three guys on him like that. So that wasn't a bad play to make there. You didn't really have any good options, but that was better than just trying to shoot it. Because when you got three guys on you like that, that means that likeliness is one of your teammates is uncovered. So that was a good play by him. Good shot. Make good on all that offensive zone time there. See, that's the thing with those short, stocky players like Justin Robidaw. When they want to protect the puck, they get really low to the ice and they use that center of gravity that they have, and they buck up their shoulders and everything like that and get really stable on their feet. It's hard to take a puck away from somebody that size even when they're that size when they know how to do it. So that was Robidaw made that happen there. That was a good individual effort on him. Oh, damn. Shrikazov tried to block that shot, but I just think he read it wrong when he tried to stick his leg out there. That's a hard thing to do though, and he didn't have time to like leave his feet to do it either. He's been okay in this game, but like he also didn't play a whole lot last season because of how often he was hurt or how badly he was hurt. Or Jesus Christ. Net stay on the moorings challenge level impossible. Good block by Legault. That kid's got a bright future. I know that I'm maybe a little bit biased because I've always liked him, but because I remember when after Carolina drafted him, I was watching him play at Quinnipiac with Skyler, and I was like, I like what I see out of this kid. Here we go. Look, I'm speaking from experience on this. Biondi needs to cut his hair a little bit shorter, or Weiss needs to cut his hair a little bit shorter. Because, bro, it's over. He has like 5 strands of hair on the top, and the rest of it's flowing out of the sides. Let it go, bro. It's over. Yeah, dude, when it's over, it's over. It's like, trust me, I freaked way the hell out about losing my hair, but I was like, when it was over, it was over. But the fact that I wasn't in the military anymore when I finally did start cutting it, buzz cutting it and shaving it, and I could have a beard, it didn't bother me so much. Yeah, just go bald at that point. Just shave your head. Going bald is not an option. Shaving your head is an option. Daly still thinks Suzuki is our 2C. The prospects are tougher than the regular players. Yeah, they really got to start standing up for each other more. They've got to stop getting pushed around so much. Otherwise, this exact scenario right here will play out again with these two teams in the Eastern Conference Finals, as it already has done twice. Wookie says, I think you talked about Legault replacing Ghost Spot on defense. What do you think the plan is with Badinka? I'll get to you in a second. Let's go ahead and watch overtime here. But short version is I actually think Badinka is going to take Ghost Spot ultimately because he's got some two-way to his game and he could be used on the power play potentially. And Legault, I think Legault, I think, is going to be the guy who's going to be Nikishin's safety valve long term. Good puck management there by Nadeau on that rebound. Yep, there you go. Take your time with it. Good pass. Let's see what happens here. Damn, I thought Robidaw had him. 1 second, guys. I went through an entire can of this shit in the last 2 days because of how everything's been. Oh, no. Get back. Oh, okay. No. Oh, God. Decent enough defense there by Ungersorm being caught back there. That was good. All right. Yeah, let's see here. Yep, so Ungersorm steps up on him. Ekberg comes back, checks on the other guy. Ungersorm forces him wide, keeps him at a bad angle. Okay, not bad at all for someone who's not a defenseman. Not bad at all. By the way, Jake, if you're watching this, the peppermint is pretty good, but I still like the dragon fruit and wild berry ones better. Good stretch pass there. Damn. That was an excellent play too. Quick little one-touch pass and then going to the front of the net like that when it was wide open. Good job by Radkin stepping up there. Yeah. Mitigating that 2-on-1 was about all Legault could do in that situation. I'm gonna have me another one of these because I can't eat for, let's see, it's 4:12. I got another hour before I can eat anyway. So oh shit, he's gonna get a shot. I almost yelled at Quap like, Kochekov, put that thing away because of the way he was extending the paddle there. Oh shit. Whoo. Good save, Nikita Quap. Mm. Mm. Damn. All right. All right. So they're starting out with Ekberg makes sense. And I'm guessing that Nadeau is going to be I guess Nadeau is going to be in the 2 hole. Oh, damn. He almost slipped that 5 hole. That's what he was going for. He was trying to outweight him. That was a sick move. He just couldn't finish on it. If he had a little bit more room and maybe pull it back to the backhand again, and he could have tucked it in, but good hands, though. Good save by Quap. Oh, my God. Absolutely sick. That edge work was impressive. The way he was pivoting on one foot to another, a little bit of that 10 and 2 top, that was a little bit Jeff Skinner-ish. Ah, damn it. Yep, fuss for number 3. Okay, I thought it would be Robida, but nasty backhand. Simple and effective move there. Didn't do too much. That was good. Fuss looked like he was either going to go for the between the legs or he was going to go for the forehand shot, and he pulled it at the last second and went backhand. That was pretty cool. Make the save here, Nikita, and we're good. Good save. All right, here we go, Robida. Oof. Make the save here, Nikita. Oh, God, that was a nasty move, too. Got him to bite on it and then sent it to the top of the net and went, like, just underneath the bar. Yeah, he made Quap commit a little bit more to the glove side, and then he took the time, or he took the space that he gave him on the blocker side and scored. All right, Ryabkin's up. Oh, he's coming in slow. Is he going for the koozie crawl? Ah. Quap gave him too much of the 5-hole there. He had it on a string. He got to the hash mark and just fumbled the hell out of it. Oh, damn. You can only help. This. There's no points on the line or anything, so you can kind of smile and laugh at that. But damn, that sucks. All right, guys. I'm not gonna have time to get any more comments or anything. I am going to take the test I have to take for school. I might be live again later. I don't know for sure yet. I got to also get ready for work tomorrow and everything like that. And we'll see what I do and everything like that. I do want to clip some of this stuff, highlights, and, maybe I'll do that and, go over some of my notes later. I'll I'll see. I might be on again later. I might not. But thank you very much for joining me. That's been a whole lot of fun. We'll do it again on Monday. Won't be able to do it tomorrow because I'll be on my way home from work when that game starts. So I might jump on mid-game. I haven't decided yet. It just kind of depends. But thank you guys very much for joining me. I really appreciate it. It's been a whole lot of fun. I will see you next time.